Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Elizabeth. It's good to have you. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make this hooded towel. If you'd like to see how I do it, stay tuned. So I've already hooped my tearaway stabilizer, and here is my towel. This towel was a hand towel that I've cut in half. It measures 77 centimeters by 23 centimeters, and I've just floated it. I've pinned it into place, making sure that I put it in the center, so my design will be in the center of the hood. I've also got here some water soluble topper, and this is to ensure that my stitches don't sink into the pile of the towel. So I'm all set up, ready to go to the machine. So off to the machine. So the first thing I want to do is I want to trace my design, just to make sure I don't hit any of those pins. Clear on the left, clear on the top, clear at the bottom. I'm now going to do a basting stitch. So I've now put my water soluble topper on my towel and I've pinned it into place, and now I'm going to do my placement stitch for my design. So my placement stitch is done. I've got this grey fabric here that I'm going to be using for the body of the whale. So I'm just going to put that over it, and I've got some stabilizer as well on the other side of this fabric, just to give it a bit of stability. Make sure it's covered everywhere. Okay, so that's the placement stitch done. So I'm going to take this to the table and cut around the design. So I'm back at the table and I'm just going to cut around the design, making sure I don't chop into my water soluble stabilizer. And cutting as close to the stitch line here as I can. So this is going to take a while, so I will either fast forward or pause you. I think I will pause you and I'll be back. So we are back at the machine, ready to carry on with the design. I wish I could just click my fingers and the cutting around the design could be done, but no, it was quite time consuming because you had all these fiddly bits here. The trick with applique is to use darker thread than your actual fabric. Mine was pretty similar but a little bit darker, so it was easy for me to see, but that is the trick. Use darker thread than your actual fabric that you're using. Okay, so we're going to carry on with our stitching now, and we're going to do the next placement stitch. So I've got my fabric here for the next part of my design, and I'm just going to make sure it's all covered, making sure I've got enough. Yep. Okay. Tack down stitch. Okay, now I need to cut round my fabric that I've just put on the top. It's advisable that you do not stick your fingers in the machine while it's being stitched, but my white fabric, as you probably could see, is quite flimsy, so I didn't want it to kind of like crumple up, which it did a little, but I think actually it's fine because it'll give it a nice puffy design, maybe, she says. Okay, so taking it to the table to cut round the design. So I'll be back with a click of a finger. Right, with a click of a finger, it's all done. Oh, I wish how that was true. Anyway, so I've cut around the latest bit of fabric, and I've also done a colour change on my thread. So we are now going to continue. Okay, now I have to do a quick thread change. So that part of his little fin is done, and I'm going to do a quick colour change. So that is it, guys. It is done. So that's it, guys. It's done. Cute little whale, and he's having a whale of a time. I'm hoping that the font that I've used will not get swallowed by the pile of the towel because it's quite thin. But I'll take the water soluble topper off and we can have a look. So off to the table now. Let's swim to the table. So we're at the table. I'm just going to remove these pins first of all. And fingers crossed the font that I've used will not sink into the pile of the towel. Snip these little bits of thread off. And with this water-soluble topper, you just tear it off. Okay, well, the front seems to be holding up so far. Right, let's get this unhooped. And we could just rip this tearaway off. I've got a basting stitch actually, which, let me just, totally forgot about that. Let's just loosen that up. Loosen up the threads. I don't know if anyone's noticed how dark it's suddenly gotten, but the weather was quite lovely earlier and now the sun has disappeared, and you wouldn't believe we are in April. It is supposed to be spring, but it looks like we're in autumn still because it's dark and horrible. So who knows when summer will arrive, or even spring, because it hasn't yet. Okay, I'm just trimming these loose stitches at the back. Well, not loose, but these hanging stitches, just tidying it up. Okay, I'll probably finish that off camera. My favourite thing, guys, is a lint roller. Everybody should have a lint roller, even if you don't do sewing. Lint is the bane of my life. Okay, so I'm going to continue to remove all this stabilizer here. I might do that off camera because you do not want to watch me picking a stabilizer. As much as it might be fun, I will save you having to watch me and do that off camera. So here is our towel, a little bit more tidy. What I'm going to do now is the next step of the hood, which is to stitch along this kind of rough edge here. So what I'm going to do is fold it over and try and match up the seam this edge right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place some clips. Just place some clips along the edge right here. Hope my arm's not in the way. Okay, I'm going to match up this edge all the way to the top. I always put too many clips in when I'm sewing. But doesn't cause any harm. So there we go. So I will now take that to the machine and stitch along here. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the sewing machine now. So for this next part, I've got my bath towel here, which I'm folding wrong sides together so that I can locate the middle of the towel, which I've then stuck a pin as a marker, making sure that my tag for my towel is at the bottom. So you can see that I've got my pin there to show me where the middle of my bath towel is. And now I'm going to take my hood and attach it, but you can also see that I've trimmed the edge of the hooded towel, the actual trim, because it causes a bit of bulkiness, so I've removed that. And I'm now locating the middle of the hood of the towel to the middle of the bath towel where I placed the pin. So I've matched up the raw edge of that hooded part of the towel to the bath towel, and I'm just placing pins in to kind of hold it together so that I'm able to Now stitch along that edge and attach the two towels together. So here you can just see that I am about to trim off that extra bit of toweling from the hooded part of the towel. So I'm just trimming it down to reduce the bulk so that I can take it back to the machine and stitch over to produce what I think is called a French seam. So it's nice and tidy, because I do not have a serger, so the French seam will make it nice and neat. So this is it, the hooded towel. This is how I make my children's hooded towel, and I think the appliques turned out really lovely. Reminds me of an old 90s movie, Free Willy, if anybody can remember that movie. So that's it. So if you found this video interesting or useful and would like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. If you've got any comments, please leave it in the comment section below. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram under the handle Eliz Art Design Studio. And as always, don't have a good day, have an amazing day. Bye!